Well, I handed him the gun out the backseat of the car.
16-year-old Charleston White took the stand and testified against his friend, Antoine Doolittle, who sat just a few feet from him and listened intently.
He pulled the hammer back on the gun.
And then what happened?
He fired.
Dear family, you know I love you. My family kept a secret from the authorities. We kept it away from everyone that would happen to us. 1963, here in Baltimore City, about 11:45 at night. I woke up in my bedroom. This strange light, picture a flashlight multiplied times 30 in a straight line, and it, like a door opened up. Now, this really happened. 3 entities stepped out of this light, plus one appears to be about my age at the time, 8 years old. I was scared. I pulled the cover up to my face, tried to, at the same time, wanted to see what it was. And the other 3 entities went in throughout my house. I heard my sister scream. I heard my mother wrestling, and then my youngest sister was screaming. The youngest entity, about my age, took his finger and placed it on my forehead. And when he did that, I was almost like a shot of heroin, or cocaine, or whatever you want to call it. I instantly relaxed, and I felt peace. And he looked me in my eyes at the same time, holding his finger there. Then I knew everything was going to be okay. They was just doing what they were doing, but they wasn't going to hurt us. And my sister, noise from her room, 2 sisters' rooms got quiet. And I drifted off. And just before I came conscious again, he was still looking at me with his finger on my head here. He smiled at me. And I don't know if I smiled back at him or not, but he went inside that light, all 3 of them went inside that light, and they disappeared. Because I didn't go to sleep, I stayed woke all that night. The next morning, I was afraid, but wasn't afraid. I went into my mother's room. Something happened to her. You know how when mom look at you, you know something happened. And my sisters all were shook up. But we promised that we were not going to talk about this anymore. We weren't going to tell anybody, because they're going to think we was fucking crazy. Well, my mom died a couple years ago, and this has been 60 years have passed since this incident happened. And we all gathered around my mother's bed when she was dying. And I asked Mom, I said, Mom, and she looked at me and looked at all my 3 sisters. She said, yeah, it happened. We all immediately knew what had happened, but we swore we would never talk about it. And now we talk about it. What was it? What was this entity was? We'll never know. But it's weird, but every time I got sick, I got hurt, being a special ops, you know what I'm talking about, I always felt like something was watching me, protecting me to this day. I don't know what kind of force that was, what kind of entity that was, but I'm telling black people, they do exist. They are among us.
No sign of George. No fingerprints, no visible trails, nothing. 18-year-old George Smythe set out for a hike near Bran Castle in Romania. In the middle of him doing this, all of a sudden he started to feel a little sick. He started to feel like he was getting hypothermia. So what he did was he called the emergency hotline and told them, hey, I'm freezing. I'm cold, I don't feel well. I have made it to Dracula's castle, but I'm going to go inside of it and rest a bit. Mind you, this castle is abandoned. Nobody lives in the castle at all. And so they go there and there's no sign of George.
If y'all really paying attention and y'all really have both eyes open, y'all would know that social media has industry plans too. Social media has plans. People on here who are agents of chaos, agents of destruction, who are people who are here to cause confusion, division, dissension, and actually just cause a bunch of chaos and ruckus, and they're on here and they're being promoted. There are some people who are organic, but there's some people who are just literally people who are put in place for an agenda. I'm convinced of it. Because some of the stuff I see on here is like, what in the world is going on? This person has to be a plant. They have to be a plant. There's no other way around it. You're like, just like the industry have plants in the music industry, film, music, and all of that. There are also plants on social media as well, and they're promoted as these quote-unquote influence. You ain't influencing me.
Man has one detail that I cannot let go, and that is that white cop and his wife have been dating and married since they were in high school. Where did their biracial daughter come from? Who is her daddy? If it's not Afro Man, it's a Afro Man. And you can tell that comment, you can tell it irked him. You can tell it got to that man. It's something about that was true business, and you can feel it.
He stepped out. I'm seeing him look at himself in disbelief. So something about the way that he lived his life, and what he did early on as a child and what he did from 2012 on, either side of that coin was not actually what happened to him as he crossed out of his body. Meaning, what he thought would happen when he died, because he's looking like there's a looking like this. What he thought would happen when he was alive, not the way it turned out. So it's very interesting. There's very much a dichotomy between positions and viewpoints on Earth, okay? He did have digestive problems in the end, and I'm wondering if he took something for a stomach problem or an intestine problem or a digestive problem that he took with either pain pills or something else, and this caused the problem. They're showing me something injected into his body, but it's not injected by him. So to me, and I'm not a coroner, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a person who has anything to do with this, or even not necessarily a fan other than of the human race, but I feel like something was put into his body that he did not agree to, okay? So we'll just say that, some sort of substance, and I feel like this is what caused him to cross over. He is speaking of a younger female family member, and he is crying for, I don't know, did he have kids? I do not know if he had kids. Someone tell me if he had kids. But I'm getting a younger female family member that he cries over. And it's interesting because as he stepped out of his body and got out of the binding or out of the shackles or out of the physical body can really be binding. I mean, it's great. It's fun to run up hills. It's fun to eat dinner out. It's fun to do all of these things, but it can be very binding.
Now pay attention, okay? A spoon of material taken from a dead person's body is sent to a lab. There, it is carefully sieved, so the larger grains are separated from the smaller ones. The remaining material is then heated to around 2,800 degrees until it turns into pure carbon. After that, the carbon is spun at extremely high speeds, so even the tiniest particles can be separated and purified. What is left is used to make tattoo ink. This means that anyone who gets a tattoo is carrying a part of a dead person in their body. Some believe that the more tattoos a person has, the more of this material is inside them. Others claim that certain designs might even contain more of this carbon, depending on the ink used and the factory it comes from. It's a shocking thought, but it makes you wonder how much of what we put on our skin is really just ink, and how much carries something else entirely.
Something way worse is happening, because there's no way that they will release all that shit showing us that they eat babies. But damn, what could be worse than eating babies?
Is being made up. Now, the way that it was explained to me, the chair worked, they would basically have children, and they had boys and girls, and they really like to use the girls because of, and this is going to get a little bit graphic, but it has to do, comes back to some sex magic stuff. But like the chair would put the child in a state of, I mean, that's just what it did. And so, but there would be electrodes, some electroshock, some pain, but also near or that. And then the child's psychic power would be activated. And by interfacing with the chair, they would use the child to open a portal, literally a jump gate. And they'd send people through the jump gate with coordinates, and they'd go into different timelines.
And they both survivors shared a similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. I mean, and even like experiences of being in the different timelines, because they were using adults, but the adults always came back with their minds snapped. For some reason, they couldn't process. So they had to use the children because the minds were a little bit more flexible. And they would send them into different timelines. I mean, they sent them into timelines at the time of Jesus at the cross, trying to get samples of his blood. They sent them into timelines where Germany actually did win World War II. So it's like a completely alternate timeline.
Into my house, make a mistake, and then sue me because as an American, as an American, I use my freedom of speech, and I talk about how you wasn't supposed to be in my house in the first place. And I use my talent to pay for the damages you brought. I didn't go down here and sue the police department. I fixed up the damages they made, and I sung songs about them to raise money to do it. They were unapologetic, and I did it the most peaceful, positive way I thought I could. And I think I was a sport.
Music executives were vacationing in Barbados and they saw Rihanna and her friends on the beach and approached her, but she was a teenager and she was able to leave Barbados with these grown white men to go to New York City, where they kept her in the room for 24 hours straight and signed her on the spot. It's hard for island girls to actually leave the island. So who paid money for this girl to leave?
The video you just watched exposes the secret behind Rihanna's rise to fame. In the early 2000s, Jay-Z was at the peak of his power. So why would he keep Rihanna, only 17 years old, locked in an office until 3 a.m.? The rumor is that she didn't just sign a contract that night, she was transferred. In the industry, that's not called an audition. It's called an initiation. Look closely. Overnight, her innocence vanished, replaced by the image of good girl gone bad. Jay-Z doesn't sign artists. He manufactures instant superstars using a much darker method. When he signed Rihanna, he allegedly said there were only two options that night. She either left with a contract or she jumped out the window. At that point, there was no negotiation. That level of urgency for an unknown teenager from Barbados makes no sense. Rihanna's explosive success immediately afterward can't just be a coincidence. Answer this in the comments. Why did Jay-Z want Rihanna so badly? Because threatening someone into signing a contract never ends well.
To survive on patties, you gotta get that pussy up.
We don't eat on time, nigga. They starve us, make sure we're hungry, angry. Nigga, I don't give a fuck about this country. Y'all can sue me, y'all can delete my Instagram. I don't care.
You gotta get that pussy up. To somebody. You gotta fuck.
Because the whole show on Zeus was a humiliation ritual.
Come drop off their bag. And they this lady up, and they kept her for 2 hours. I don't know what they did to her.
He crossed out of his body. He had no idea why he died. None. He stood there and he watched the lack of effort. Like he did when he saw her and her male friend in the bedroom, and he saw them and they did nothing. He thought he was having another hallucination till he realized he couldn't get back in his body. And he goes, I couldn't get back in there. He started to have problems breathing. He went to lie down after his breakfast. He keeps telling me this. Something was in the breakfast. Every time he eats the breakfast, his eyes go narrow like this. He tries to extend his energy out and it's slammed back into his body. It's like he's hitting a brick wall behind him. He could not understand it. He didn't know if it was a stroke. but he came to find out what it was. And just so you freaking know, okay, there was a combination of something that they put in. I don't know who put it in there. I'm not accusing anybody. There was a combination of something they put into his cereal mix, whatever it was. I don't know if it was powder. I don't know if it was the oats, but it was in the mix. He's showing me a bowl. They put something in there. He's drinking coffee. The coffee's a problem for him. And suddenly his eyes get narrow and he passes out. When he lay there having, quote, the heart attack, what happened is, and it was not meant for him to die, but what happened is they gave him some kind of a body paralytic, something that makes you kind of He was told to go outside of his body. I'm dead serious when I say this, and get the character from the other side. He basically conjured up an entity to play that inside of him. What he's showing me is on the day that he died, and supposedly he was getting a massage and then he OD'd, okay, or whatever, which accidentally, hello, don't take drugs and then you won't accidentally have an outcome you don't want. The massage that he was supposedly getting was actually his, I'll use the word trainer, like at a gym, who was giving him a chemical substance that was covering his mouth and taking his spirit body out of the physical into a different dimension to collect information and bring back, I want to say a particle or some kind of entity that comes back into the body with people that were in the room. He puts the mask on. He's not undressed and naked, like it's not a massage, like he's in a towel and the masseuse was called. The masseuse is not that. She is the one that is pushing him over to the other side. So when they say masseuse, what they mean is magician who can harness energy in order to help the subject.
Policeman's biracial daughter coming home asking if Afro Man is her real daddy.
And my daughter came home and advised me that she was getting messed with at school because apparently her mom is having sex with Afro Man, and since she's biracial, that must be her daddy.
She's asking that because Afro Man made a music video saying that he was sleeping with the sheriff's wife. Let's rewind. This is part 1 of day 2 of the Afro Man trial. We started off day 2 with a jump scare when the attorney for the sheriffs pulled up this photo of one of the sheriffs that Afro Man called King Kong.
You were called, and I quote, Colonel King Kong Bundy.
Yes.
And we moved on to this officer who Afro Man called Quasimodo.
Is it true that Mr. Foreman called you a hunchback?
Yes.
And specifically compared you to Quasimodo?
Yes.
Next, we got to this officer, and when the lawyer hit this pose, I already knew the officer wanted to go cry in the car because unfortunately for this officer, the song Afro Man wrote about him is a banger.
He's an Adams County sheriff, he's hungry and he's big as hell, and cut him a slice. Of what? Of what? Lemon pound cake.
This officer said the trolling about lemon pound cake got so bad that people were sending him hundreds of lemon pound cakes. This officer was big mad because everybody was asking him if his wife was cheating on him with Afro Man and if she had a baby by Afro Man. And this officer had been with his wife since middle school, so you already know he did not take too kindly to that. But this is also the same officer who allegedly on camera flipped the bird at Afro Man security cameras. If you look here, take a screenshot and zoom in if you can. It does appear to me like the officer's middle finger is up if you look through the window of the shield. Now, the officer had all types of excuses talking about, no, you just don't understand how holding a shield works. You know, the checkings and the savings, and then the savings and the check, you got to transfer, you know. Long story short, the officer was saying he was not flipping the bird. I guess that's up to the jury to decide. Oh, and did I mention this is the same officer who gave the instruction to disconnect the security cameras in Afro Man's house? It's looking a little spooky, my boy. I also wanted to mention that a common thing each of these police officers has explained is that the entire town was joining in on the jokes made by Afro Man. Townspeople started selling merch with the officers' faces in the local smoke shop. People were calling dispatch asking, where is Afro Man's money? Why did y'all steal it? Why did y'all destroy his property? All of that. And my working theory is this: if y'all had a positive reputation in the community, if people knew y'all as good, upstanding people, the rest of the townspeople probably will not not have been so quick to hop on a bandwagon and put their feet on your necks. But if this law enforcement department has been wreaking havoc on the good people of Ohio, the people probably saw an opportunity to peacefully get their lick back, and they took it. Next up, I'll cover Afroman's testimony because, oh yes, he took the stand, and day 3 of the trial, including closing arguments. Don't forget to like and follow for more trial updates.
Just have a little conspiracy theory because it's a trans woman that is coming out and saying that allegedly Natalie Nunn flew her to Nigeria to have her trafficked, okay, and sleep with, multiple men. And she also allegedly told the trans woman to not announce that she is trans because they will both be unalived over there in Nigeria. And then it's also being alleged that she left the young lady with little to no money, and now she's coming out to tell her story. And I have a theory that in the coming years, maybe next year or the end of this year, there's going to be a documentary about surviving Zeus, surviving Natalie Nunn, surviving, aluminum foil, because there is no way that everybody is coming out and saying that Natalie Nunn was trafficking them. Girl, everybody can't be lying. And if y'all look up who aluminum foil daddy is, he has close ties to them people that's trying to take over the world. Okay, I don't care what y'all say. Every time somebody come out with a trafficking story when it comes to Zeus, Natalie Nunn, aluminum foil, I believe it. Because y'all know how Scotty was getting pimped out before she got where she is now. And y'all know how majority of the girls come into the Zeus world and they say the same thing. There is no way that everybody is lying, and Natalie Nunn, you will pay for your crimes, and the CIA is behind this.
I get a glass of water, I turn around, I want to say his manager or one of his management team is there. They're talking, and that's all he remembers. I'm lying down on the bed. I step out of my body, steps out of his body. I can't fucking believe it. I can't fucking believe it. I just stepped out of my body. Am I having a dream? Is this a nightmare? What is this? I don't know what this is. So I'm confused about my death. I don't think I overdosed. I know I didn't overdose now, but I don't think I overdosed at that time. I may have had drugs in my system, but it was kind of helped along by something else. Now this is interesting. I feel like there was another substance in his body at the time of his passing. I don't know what to call it. I feel like there may have been an injection of some level into his body to make him a little bit incoherent or magnify the effect of what he'd taken, or maybe we don't know what he took and we just put something in his arm to calm his ass down and try to control the situation for some reason. When I wake up, I cannot believe I'm dead. I'm literally out of my body. I see my body on the bed. I see my body on the bed. Something about the bedspread that he had.
As to why y'all thought the money came from the sale of drugs. So when Afroman went down to the police station to get the money back because the police did not charge him with a crime, Afroman says $400 was missing, and after that he immediately started playing in their faces. He specifically started playing in the face of the officer who claimed that he counted the money and that the money was all there. So Afroman posted Officer Newman holding a little boy and called him an Adobe PDF file. Afroman then proceeded to make a 21-minute and 57-second music video where he posted the mugshot of Officer Newman's brother and talks about how the brother got fired from his job and arrested on Adobe PDF file.
The reason we don't hear about baby Chance anymore is because he is a failed experiment that pro-life people don't want any more coverage on. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, Chance is the child who was born via C-section after incubating in his mother's corpse for months, after his mother, Adriana Smith, was denied proper medical care and slipped into a coma and passed away.
Oh, people in Georgia and South Carolina had their TVs taken over for about 3 minutes with a message from the Anunnaki? Tell me more. Yeah, not long after about 150 fireballs were reported coming down from the sky and hitting the ground, was there a message on people's televisions from the Anunnaki saying, "This, unfortunately, is just the beginning, but we're here to help." Okay. Shortly after that message popped up, a new one popped up saying, there is a war going on that you can't see, but you are seeing some of the fragments coming down onto Earth. Oh, fun. The last message that they saw that popped up briefly was talking about how the weather is going to get a lot crazier. As if maybe it already hasn't. Okay. Let's go ahead and keep our head on a swivel. Oh, goody.